Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Jay Cohn. City of Billings could save more than $2.5 million due to a court ruling issued this week.
In that decision, a district court judge overturns a 2009 ruling that would have paid Billings police officers for overtime dating back more than a decade. District Judge Olivia Rieger of Dawson County determined that the City of Billings did, in fact, properly calculate the officers' pay consistent with their union's collective bargaining agreement. Her ruling is the latest in a long legal battle between the Montana Public Employees Association and the city. In 2009, 28 Billings police officers filed suit, alleging the city had underpaid them for years by miscalculating longevity pay. In the original trial, District Judge Brenda Gilbert of Livingston ordered the city to pay just under $2 million in back pay and penalties to 142 active duty police officers. The city appealed, and the case then moved all the way to the Montana Supreme Court. Then in August of last year, the High Court sent the case back to District Court, ruling that additional contract language was not considered in the original decision. Union attorneys have not said yet if they plan to appeal. Some scary moments along the Yellowstone River in Lockwood this afternoon. Although there is no word yet on the exact cause of this fire today, high winds at times pushed the flames dangerously close to some nearby fuel trucks. All of this happening along Cerise Road, just right across the Yellowstone River from Metro Park. The initial reports indicate the fire started in, then fully engulfed a motorhome in that area that was occupied at the time. Just before 4 o'clock, flames shot high into the air as the winds pushed the fire into some nearby trees. One woman was being interviewed at the scene, but the fire's cause is still under investigation. A semi-truck driver died while another fell to his death following a nasty pileup on an icy Interstate 90 just east of Superior early this morning. 2 other people were hurt, including a firefighter who stopped to help. Now, the crash shut down both lanes of the interstate for much of the day. Highway Patrol Trooper Terry Rosenbaum tells MTN 5 semi-trucks were involved, all of them jackknifed on the icy road. Now, the chain of events started just after 4 this morning in the interstate's eastbound lanes. Authorities tell us the first semi-truck was hauling a flatbed piled with lumber. That driver lost control, spilling lumber and completely blocking the eastbound lanes. A second semi-truck tried to avoid that first crash and careened through the median, completely blocking both westbound lanes. Witnesses say that driver thought he was going to get hit by westbound traffic, so he jumped over the bridge guardrail to what he thought was safety. But the MHP says the driver apparently unaware that on the other side of that guardrail, a 100-foot drop, and the driver fell to his death. The driver of the third semi-truck involved was partially ejected when he crashed into the pileup. He was then airlifted to Kalispell, and the driver of a 5th commercial vehicle that slammed into the other wrecked semis was killed in the collision. Adding to this tragedy, Frenchtown fire officials report that one of their firefighters slipped and fell some 40 feet over a bridge deck. He was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. Helena police say it appears an estranged husband shot his wife before shooting himself at a West Side home Tuesday morning. MTN's Jonathan Amberian reports now on what investigators say led up to this fatal shooting.
The disturbance began Tuesday evening at the woman's home on the 1100 block of Hauser Boulevard. Helena police say several children and other adults were there for a birthday party when the woman's estranged husband arrived. Witnesses told officers the man pulled out a handgun and ordered people to leave. The others at the party ran out of the house.
People left the house. That's when we believe he went out and shot the female and then shot himself.
Medical units responded to treat both individuals, but they were found to be deceased. Police say no one else was injured in the incident.
Well, it's very tragic. I mean, you have families involved, other people involved. The neighborhood up there was very concerned about what's going on. We did our best to, canvass the neighborhood and let people know what was happening, that everything was safe.
Chief Troy McGee said police are still investigating whether there was a history of domestic violence or protection orders involving this family. They are also looking to speak to more witnesses.
There's still quite a few things that we have to do to ensure what our preliminary investigation shows is what occurred.
In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Thanks, Jonathan. Both a man and woman were 37 years old. Their names have not yet been released.
The former Miles City Postmaster learned his punishment today for his role in a conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine through the mail. 59-year-old Stephen Miller sentenced to 5 years probation and fined $2,500. U.S. Attorney Kurt Alme said Miller admitted to using his position to warn drug suspect James Toms that police were monitoring his mail. Miller also intercepted a package with 4 ounces of meth and delivered that package to Toms in exchange for 1 ounce of the drug. Toms was sentenced to 8 years in prison back in April.
Tonight, Crow Tribal members learned more about a controversial case the U.S. Supreme Court will hear at the beginning of the year. A Crow man says an old treaty gives him the right to hunt on public land in Wyoming. Now, the American Civil Liberties Union told tribal members tonight the ruling will not affect hunting on the reservation. The case involves Clavin Herrera, who was cited for hunting elk in the Bighorn National Forest in Wyoming without a license and out of season. Herrera did not attend tonight's forum, but the ACLU says he believes hunting is lawful under the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie.
With Crow Tribal members, we do still have those hunting rights because of this treaty, and so he's been practicing his right as a Crow Tribal member to hunt for his family and provide for his family. That is our original part of our original territory, our original land base.
The U.S. Supreme Court is scheduled to hear the case Herrera versus Wyoming on January 8th. Now, the court is expected to release its decision in the spring.
Car theft's a big issue here in Billings. In fact, just in the past week, 11 reports of stolen vehicles here in the Magic City.
But what if you could install a device to track your car? Well, one such gadget is called Hum, and it's flying off the shelves this Christmas. This is what Hum looks like, a small box that connects directly into your vehicle, and it's putting a lot of people at ease.
We checked the Billings Crime Tracker map and learned that in the past month, 99 cars were reported stolen. People who have invested in the device already say they've seen it in action and it works.
So we had a couple guests come in. They'd only had it for a little over a week and their vehicle was stolen. It luckily was just some kids who were messing around, but it was 2 streets over, parked on the side of the road. And we may have looked for that forever, right? But they just had to open up the app on their phone and it was located within a minute.
And Cellular Plus employees tell us Hum isn't just for car thefts. It can also track mileage, alert you about servicing, and is great for parents.
That's because there's a feature on it called a boundary alert that notifies you if a driver in your family may have traveled beyond a specific area. Handy, huh? Mm-hmm. On to the weather scene tonight. Bob McGuire. Looks like our dreams of a white Christmas may have been renewed, Bob.
Yeah, well, we started talking about it last night. Maybe a slight chance just creeping into the forecast. Now let me show you what the official white Christmas forecast is. We're going to start off historically. This is what we normally get. The area in pink, that includes Billings. That's about a 50 to 60% chance for a white Christmas historically if you go through all the years. Now, what about the actual white Christmas? Here's what the computer models say. Just with 1 inch of snow on the ground, or a little less or a little more. Right in the Billings area, we're looking at maybe just a slight chance on the day before Christmas. And then what about accumulating snow on Christmas Day? That looks like not right in the city, but actually outside the city, we could see maybe 1 inch or so developing there as well. So at least there's a decent chance for getting some snow showers this Christmas Eve and again on Christmas Day. We'll have more on that in a few more minutes.
All right. Thanks, Bob.
President Trump is planning to withdraw U.S. troops from Syria.
The president says ISIS is defeated in the country, and now he plans to remove troops since defeating the terrorist group was their main reason for being in the country. The president made the decision, but adds that he's been signaling his desire to get out of Syria for some time.
Currently, the U.S. has around 2,000 troops on the ground in Syria.
Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, another interest rate hike sent the stocks diving. We will find out why.
Plus, people are shredding through this winter season thanks to high sales of season passes at Bridger Bowl.
And in sports tonight, Scott hears from Rocky's new head football coach on why he's the right fit.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.